Hey punks, welcome back to the University of Radlands. We have our second Cult of the Chrome preview provided by Daniel. Again, those can be found on the Cult of Chrome Board Game Geek forums and also on the official Roxley Radlands Facebook group. So what we're going to do is we're going to show the card, talk about it, talk about some combos, and then I will share some of my experiences playtesting the card. So here is the second preview. It's called Bounty Office. It gives you one starting card at the start of the game. And then for 2 water, damage any camp if your opponent has no punk. Then the opponent gains a punk. So kind of similar to Death Ray, we have a card or an ability that focuses on any. So again, like Sniper or Mulgar Sting, can target any of the camps. Now this does specify camps, whereas Death Ray was card. But essentially this works around avoiding protected camps again. So you can damage any camp you want, as long as they have no punk, then the opponent gains a punk. And so then once they gain that punk, they can put it wherever they want. They can put the punk out in the open, they can protect the punk. But as long as your opponent has a punk, you're not able to use this ability. So this is a pretty fun one. It's kind of interactive for both yourself and the opponent. You know, do they play with the strategy where maybe they just try to protect and leave one punk? Do they try to swarm their board with a few punks to make it harder for you to use this ability? When you're playing, do you try to destroy the punk? So like I said, a lot of fun back and forth with that. So some combos that you might be looking for when playing this card. We'll start with some camps first. The first one I'll recommend is Reactor. This is a one that you can destroy to clear the board. That way, maybe if your opponent has quite a few punks out or you're having trouble knocking out the one punk they have, you can use Reactor, clear the field, and then since they don't have a punk anymore, you're able to then use Bounty Office's ability. Catapult is another good one. This works as well because again, you can target. Now this lets you target any card, but you could have Catapult damage a camp, and then Bounty Office finish that camp off and destroy it. Now both of these, to use all of this, would be pretty expensive. Each ability costs 2, so you would need 4 water in the turn to do that. The other camp that would maybe combo fairly well is the Death Ray that we just showed off yesterday. So again, this lets you target any card. So maybe you have a Raiders Resolve. The opponent already has a destroyed camp. Raiders hits one of their camps. You could use Bounty Office to finish the second camp off, and then use Death Ray to finish off the third. Again, you would need 4 water to do that in the turn, but it would be doable, and 5 cards to discard. So now that we've discussed camp combos, what combos might we have for Bounty Office in the punk deck? The main person that I could think of would be Gunner. His ability allows you to injure all unprotected people. So a way to kind of help clear the opponent's board to get to those protected punks a little bit faster. And so similar mindset for mostly using events to try to get to the punk. You have Truce. You could everybody pick up their cards, so that would include the opponent's punks. So that would pair well with the Death Ray and Bounty Office combo I discussed a little bit ago. Famine Resolving, unless the opponent wants to leave the punk as their lone person, that would clear punks. Banish might be kind of ridiculous to use a Banish to destroy a punk, but hey, if that helps you win the game with Bounty Office, go for it. Napalm, again, targeted destruction. Radiation injures all people. Punks only take 1 hit to be killed, so they'd go back on top of the deck, so Radiation would do that. And then, of course, similar to Gunner, we have Strafe, a way to help clear people on the board to get to those punks a little quicker. Another event that would be very useful is high ground. Have high ground resolve, and now since all of your opponent's cards are unprotected, you can start using junks, injured junks, to maybe take out some of their punks, from your hand, or then Gunner could hit the whole board. So utilizing your high grounds would be a way to try to get and attack those protected punks. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, using raiders, your opponent picks what camp they want to damage, and then finish that camp off with your bounty office. So this is a pretty cool, and I'm glad Daniel showed this one off. As he mentioned in his post, this was originally called Wanted Poster, and in our mindset when playing the game, the camp should represent like a place, or something more tangible than just a wanted poster being on the wall. So this is actually one of the camps that I got to name, which is why I'm pretty excited he showed it off. Wanted poster made me think of your bounty, making money, going after somebody, and so bounty office kind of came from that. There's a few different ideas, and that was the one that was chosen. Another kind of fun fact about this is I believe when we were kind of originally designing this camp, or not, he designed the camp, but one of the ideas was there was a trait on here that your opponent would start with a punk in play. That way you couldn't use the card right away during your first turn to kind of start damaging camps. But we found that was a lot of text to then be on the card, and play testing found that one damage to a camp early on isn't necessarily detrimental. There's quite a few restores in the deck, or if you have a restore camp, you were able to withstand some early bounty office destruction. And as I mentioned earlier, with Death Ray and bounty offices, you can see that we're now targeting camps with kind of any on some of the current or new camps that are coming out. And that's a way to kind of speed up the games. The play testing occurred while we were also working on the kind of the 1.2 update that released last May. So those were kind of worked together side by side. And part of the 1.2 update was kind of speeding up games, preventing stalls, with the no self-restoring cards anymore, being able to switch out your people to prevent board locks. Well, now, as we've seen with the two camps that have been previewed, we're able to target camps even though they're protected. So these are kind of designed to be finisher camps, because sometimes the game can kind of lag or stall when you're on that one camp and your opponent is just able to play person after person. So that's really exciting. And we were able to kind of play test that. And this is a really fun camp. So I was really excited that Daniel showed this off. What are your thoughts? Comment below. Do you like Bounty Office? How do you think it compares maybe to Death Ray? What strategies do you see or would want to try with it? Please comment below and let me know. And as always, stay thirsty, punks.